So what can we do to combat some of these factors? Let me give you some really simple tips. The first one you probably already know. Drink water and stay well hydrated. Taking room temperature water is really important. No ice cold liquids, no hot drinks, really hot drinks, as we mentioned in the last lecture. So drinking lots of water. Secondly, you can drink herbal teas, not too hot, but they're a great addition to a healthy lifestyle, and they're also they're great for replacing tea and coffee. Now, some people say to me, what about green tea? Because that's got caffeine in it, which is very true. But the caffeine that is in green tea is a little different to the caffeine that is in coffee and normal tea. And it's actually half the content anyway, but it's also absorbed more slowly than caffeine that's in coffee and tea. And I believe that's because of the L-theanine that's in green tea. But there's also lots of other herbal teas which are useful. Lemon and honey is great, and it'll also have a soothing effect on the voice. The honey is great. Oftentimes, if I have a sore throat, I'll use lemon and honey drink, and I just love it. It really helps my voice. Keeping your temperature consistent in your workspace could really help you. If you live in a very hot area, for example, and you have lots of air conditioning and you're indoors all day, that can actually have a drying effect, same as having heating all day if you're in very cold areas. This doesn't mean you can't use heating and cooling, but what it does mean is you being aware of A, making sure that you're well hydrated, and B, making sure you're not moving from one extreme temperature to another. So for example, just say you live in a very hot area and you're doing your courses inside, it's really air conditioned really well, and then you decide to have a 20-minute break and go outdoors where it's really hot, then come back into the cold. Those things can actually affect your voice. So during the times when you're having to use your voice to record or to speak, keeping the temperature consistent in your workspace will just help with longevity and consistency in the sound of your voice. Now that brings me to another thing. I want to talk to you about steaming, the importance of steaming. Now the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you do have a cold and you're not wanting to use too many medications that dry out the throat, and you're saying, well, Roma, you're not giving me many choices. What can I do that won't affect the quality of my voice? Steaming is a fantastic way to rehydrate the vocal folds because it's one of the few things that actually will reach your vocal folds. When you drink liquids, you are hydrating the body, but nothing is actually touching your vocal folds because of the way that your body works. You've got breathing apparatus there, and when you swallow, there's little things inside your throat that close down and close over so that the food goes to your stomach as opposed to your windpipe. But steam actually reaches the vocal folds. So just put a whole lot of hot water in a basin, put a towel over your head, and just breathe in the steam. And you'll find that that's very hydrating. You can add things like eucalyptus or tea tree oil for the antibacterial properties as well. So that is very, very helpful in combating any throat trouble that you may have. And using natural remedies when possible is really good. So let's talk about, for example, as a replacement for cough drops. So a lot of cough drops do have a dehydrating effect. There's a cough drop called Fisherman's Friend. Where you are, I'm not sure if you'll have that, but I am pretty sure that you can get Fisherman's Friends anywhere in the world, and they're great. They're made with eucalyptus and menthol, which can dry out all the sinuses and help to clear up the head and the throat so that you can speak well and have clarity in your voice. Don't use obviously too much of it because even though it's natural, eucalyptus and menthol still dry out the throat. So if you're using it non-stop, you will actually find it'll work against you. But using natural remedies where possible, like Fisherman's Friends or even other cough drops that you can find in the health food store, will really help you to keep your throat well and healthy. And of course, abstaining from gum and medications unless needed is also important.